I came to see you back in 86 or 87. You gave me the green light that everything is done right.
It was the most important thing I did in my career in the hospitality business, the highest of anything I ever accomplished. I think you should answer that question.
You started it. People always told me, oh, you're a politician. Definition of my politics was,
I believed all my life that you can't stereotype people. You have to look at them as individuals.
back in the days, it was $10,000, $15,000. Now they are charging $150,000, $200,000 based on how many rooms you have.
Making money in business is not a legacy.
How are you, Mike? Nice meeting you after so long. How have you been
Nice
doing
to see
so
you.
far?
You look wonderful,
Yeah,
just like the
yeah.
last time I saw you.
Yeah, I met you many years ago when the AAHOA convention was in Vegas,
That's right.
and you were CEO of the Sands Hotel.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah,
When
yeah.
we did,
That's the last time I met you.
Sure,
so
that's about 12, 13 years ago.
It's nice
yeah.
to catch up again.
Yeah.
How did you both meet? I think I met you, Mike, when I was owner of the Days Inn in Athens, Georgia, and I had some quality rating issue. Inspector was failing me left and right, even though I had done all the work and the property was in the right condition. I came to see you back in
86
or 87.
Yeah.
You still remember that? That's
Sure,
that's
of
nice.
course.
Yeah. And you resolved the issue. You sent the inspector back with somebody else to make sure that what the inspector was doing is correct. And you gave me the green light that everything is done right.
Well, I probably fired the inspector.
You might have. You might have. You didn't tell me that, but you might have
No,
done so.
I always wanted to be fair, and I thought you were doing a good job, and that's what happened. And then that's a couple of years before AAHOA got founded. And
Right.
Yeah, and you were a good part of it.
And you invited me for that first meeting when you were talking about AAHOA, so I appreciate that also, knowing the facts and that what the franchisees are going through. And I appreciate what you have done all these years for our community and our members at AAHOA.
Well, thank you very much. It was my pleasure to do it. It was the most important thing I did in my career in the hospitality business. I think AAHOA stands the highest of anything I ever accomplished. I think that being fair with the franchisee was a model that I had. I had people working with me who believed in that kind of process. And we were very successful at doing that. And hopefully that it made our franchisees, who were really our partners, more successful.
Right.
The members of the community, the Asian American community, were operating at the same levels as everybody else.
Right.
And people were trying to discriminate against that group of people. And something I didn't accept.
Yeah.
So
I consider you as a visionary man who had seen what's going on and something needs to be done.
Something had to be done. That is
Something
correct.
had to be done
That is
for
correct.
that.
So that's how we met.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I have this question. What core values have guided you through both successes and challenges? It sounds like a complicated question, but it's really not. There are two things you have to do. You have to take care of your customers, and you have to take care of your employees. If you have great employees and great customers, you're going to be successful. So all the rest is just details.
Right.
The rest is the philosophy that you bring to the job. And I think, CK, that's how we met over an issue and with an employee and a situation and a quality issue. And making the customer happy was part of doing it, and respecting what the customer did. So I think I've done that in every job I've had. I probably had too many jobs. I can't keep one for that much longer. But at the end of the day, that was part of the philosophy I brought to the table.
Right. In my case, I'm just going to talk about on the leadership side of the core values, and I strive to uphold my core values as a service above self, that make sure that you serve others and not serve yourself when you are in leadership position to serve others. Right? Honesty, integrity, responsibility. You have to be creative to know what you are doing, and you have to be creative based on the situation you are in. Your integrity is there. And above all, it's a fiscal responsibility. You have to make sure that you handle the finance of your own business and the association you are serving with the integrity, without wasting any fund and spending unnecessary funds and stuff like that. And I also have to you have to go through a lot of challenges, just like you did in your jobs, right? It's ethical dilemmas, difficult. You have to make some difficult decisions based on your ethical values and everything, maintaining appropriate professional boundaries when you talk to people, then whom you're talking with, and you have to just base your talk based on that and all those things. And systemic barriers, that was another thing we had to go through. That is lack of resources when you want to do some project, you don't have enough resources or you don't have enough funding. And on top of that, sometimes it's internal politics, right?
Well, you often run
these
into,
are the challenges.
Absolutely, you run into internal politics, but you have to stay honest with yourself and honest with what you're doing. And what you're saying, if you could pass that on to everybody that you meet and everybody the way you do business, or not business, the way you live your life, it's not much different the way you live your life and the way you do business.
Yeah. Take us back to those early days. What was the moment you realized AAHOA had to exist, Mike?
Well, I think that's a very interesting question. You go back a long time. It's really over 40 years now. When I got to Days Inn, I didn't know anything about the economy lodging business. I did know the franchise business a little bit because I was a franchisee of a couple of different hotel companies before I got there. So I was guided to see a consultant in the hospitality business who dealt with the economy lodging sector. And I went to see him, and Henry Silverman, who was the CEO of Days Inn, had sold about 75 units to members of the Indian community, the American community. And the person greeted me by saying, well, he said, you have a lot of those curry palaces. And I said, well, what do you mean? I didn't have any idea what he mean. It was sort of an ironic, a difficult comment to make. He said, well, they're owned by the Indian people who come in, and the wife takes care of the house, and the husband checks the people in, and they live there in the back. And it was strange. I didn't care for the particular consultant and the particular commentary. It just ruffled my own feathers because it was stereotypical, and I believed all my life that you can't stereotype people by the basis of one person or another. You have to look at them as individuals.
And I'm glad you did your research instead of believing in
Yeah,
someone.
I did then when I got to Days Inn, I did the research and found out that all of the commentaries about quality, about payment, about whatever, were not justified. They were not justified comment, that the performance of the Indian owners was as good or better as anybody else. And as a consequence of that, I said, these people are not getting a fair attitude and a fair shake by many hotel companies and whatever. So I met with H.P. Rama, who was a leader of the community, and others. And I went to my boss and said, I need a little money here to give me to run a meeting and to do some stuff. We formed a board of 12 people. I involved the American Hotel and Lodging Association. And one of the leaders, H.P. Rama, eventually became the president, the late president. Yeah. And we said, let's start an association and let's build it and take it right. I remember the rule was so that the owners could take their rightful place in the U.S. lodging business.
Right.
And we met with 12 people. We formed a board. We had different owners and different consultants and things like that. And we started with 12 people. And our first convention was about 100 or 125 people.
And I was there.
Up. Yeah, it cost.
I was there in the first meeting also.
Yeah, the first meeting here in Atlanta. And I got pillaged by a few hotel people and said, you're only doing it for business. I wasn't doing it for business at all. I was doing it because it was the right thing to do.
Right. And I think you did it to bring social justice with the industry and the community.
Well, what I found was a Mid-South Indemnity Organization or something with one of the Patel people.
Right.
He was running, and they were doing insurance. Because insurance companies wouldn't insure. Then lenders wouldn't lend.
Right.
It was a terrible discriminatory scenario. Right. And consequently, AAHOA went through its growing pains, and various presidents came in, there were impact issues, other issues that it dealt with. And today, it's the most important lodging association of owners.
Right. And I think the great thing happened to foster unity. The association from Nashville, which Shankar Patel started, meets up the community, and AAHOA merged during Harry Putney's chairmanship in 1994 to show the unity of the community and everything.
Yeah,
And that was the plus.
That's right.
That was
And
the plus.
they began to see that a larger amount of voices
Right.
can get things done rather than one voice.
One voice, right,
No
right.
question.
I believe that to secure the better, brighter future for generation to come, our community must remain united, just like they were back in 94 and 92. The theory I have, when you take a leadership, let's take example of AAHOA. I became a chairman. People always told me, oh, you're a politician. I'm not a politician the way they think, that you play politics to put somebody down and stuff like that, play politics to enrich yourself or whatever, right? Definition of my politics was there are two parties or three parties within the board of directors. To get anything done, you have to convince everybody, right? There are two parties. Some party might not go along with you, right? So you have to give and take and get something done to benefit the membership. That was my slogan, right? So you don't play party politics, but you work with everybody, right? And get something done for the membership, because that's the reason membership has elected you.
Well, yeah, you're right, because the members become your customers,
Right.
don't they?
Right. So
They're
treat your
essentially-
customer
That's right.
the way it's supposed to be
That's
treated.
right. And so it's the same thing.
And that's what will bring the unity.
Yeah, well, the bigger you are, the tougher it is, because the more personalities you deal with.
Right.
But at the end of the day, leadership has to make sure that they're straight about their ethics, their way of doing business, their leadership and whatever. But you have to understand, in an organization of big size, large size, that you can't get.
You cannot please everybody.
You can't get. That's right. The measurement is, are you doing the right thing?
Right.
That's the measurement.
Yeah. Mike, how do you stay adaptable in fast-paced industry without losing sight of what matters most?
I think you have to have a core philosophy. It doesn't make any difference how fast the industry is moving. The decisions that you make are based upon your particular philosophy as how to do business. And when things come up that you may not agree with or whatever, then you have to try to deal with it or manage it or influence, use your influence and your strength to make it, not to accept things that are going to be bad for your business or your customers or your employees, what we talked about before. Mm. But sometimes when you're, particularly if you're in the franchise business and the franchisor is acting in a way that doesn't fit your model, then oftentimes you think about walking with your feet and leaving. I mean, if it becomes untenable, like we talked about before, sometimes you stay independent. You don't need a franchise anymore. So the next thing you do, well, when your franchise is up, you don't renew your franchise, and you in that kind of business. But you're always going to have leadership that you're not in control of, except in your own company and your own situation. So in your own situation, you have the compass, and you work with that compass of how you do business. When you're dependent on other situations or other people, you're going to have areas where you're going to have disagreements, and you make a decision. You live with it, or you try to change it, and then if it doesn't work, you leave.
Right. So entry is easy in the franchise system, right? People, what I ask people to do is always negotiate, have the exit strategy. So suppose if that flag did not work for you, if the franchisor did not treat you well, if you want to leave the franchise, that particular franchise system and go to somewhere else, or if you want to sell the property, right? Always have exit strategy for that how to come out of that without paying a lot of liquidated damages. Negotiate the transfer fee. Suppose if you want to sell it to somebody, you don't want them to come back and charge $200,000 transfer fee, that is what is going on nowadays. Back in the days, it was $10,000, $15,000. Enough to do the paperwork within the system, right? Now they are charging $150,000, $200,000 based on how many rooms you have. The PEEP is another thing. Mm-hmm. If you want to get out, they'll fail you.
Well,
just like what they were doing in the past. That practice is still there. Right?
yeah, I
So the people you have to negotiate also. So I think these are the kind of things
well, I
you have
think,
to keep up with the technology.
yeah, but I do think you have to understand if you're starting something new and you're reviewing a particular franchise, a franchisor, then all those things have to be in the model. The problem we've had in the franchise business when I was in it is that a lot of individual owners couldn't get money from a bank
Right.
unless they had a franchise. And sometimes you find, like you mentioned with your own hotel in Athens, that you don't need a franchise anymore because of the way the distribution system works. Because essentially, I was telling you about my son, he has a lot of hotels that aren't franchised anymore because they think it's egregious the amount of money they have to spend on a franchise, and the distribution system can handle it. But if you do need a franchise for some reason, then you have to take the franchise that you think is going to treat you with a special way at the end of the day. And many people don't think about that. They just go in and get the franchise.
Right. I think you need to do thorough due diligence process. You have to rigorous return on investment study that how much return on investment you'll be getting by putting this flag in.
And by the way, CK, that's not only in the hotel business. That's in the restaurant business.
Right.
It's in the automobile business and all kinds of businesses.
Yeah.
But when you're in a situation where you have to get lending, and lending requires a franchise, but you do have the right to choose the franchise you're going to deal with. And your experience at dealing with a franchisor that's ethical and treats you properly says that you can now do another franchise with them and not with the one that doesn't. So you make that decision. The question is, what advice would I give myself now as a franchisor is the same as I would give 20 years ago, 30 years ago. I said my advice would be to build trust with my franchisee in order to make sure that that franchisee is successful, because I would set up my organization to be able to provide the services that are necessary to be successful, not to just demand services like all of a sudden put in a carpeting pad in the corridors.
And collect all the fees and do nothing.
Yeah.
I know back in the days, Days Inn had learning programs. I think you had to go there, and they used to give you the whole handbook to teach your front desk employees and everything to follow and everything. Nowadays, all of that is gone.
But I think that if they're not doing that anymore, then I think AAHOA should pick up that gap.
They're doing it through CHO.
Then your value for your membership is teaching. And I don't know how many people are new to the business that enter AAHOA or they're just repeat people, but I think the responsibility of the association is to teach, not only represent the interests, but to teach.
Yeah, and I think they're doing an excellent job in that.
That's what they have to do to survive.
Looking at what AAHOA has become, what part of the original mission are you most proud to see still?
Well, you should be able to talk. You were there at the beginning. I think you should answer that question.
You started it. You started with the vision that what needs to be done. So,
well,
I'll take
the original mission was to have the members of the community in the hotel business have their rightful place in the business.
Right.
The rightful place was to end discrimination. The right place was to be able to get franchises for any company that was franchising. The right situation was to be able to get loans like anybody else that had competitive situations and all that. I think in the early going, what happened between 1989 and 1995 or 6 would have been that a lot of that was accomplished. When HP became the leader of the American Hotel and Lodging Association, imagine from the Indian community that somebody was in that job. And so it actually proved, AAHOA proved that it could get to that particular level of influence. The influence was to take the barriers away based upon who you are and give you the freedom to operate and do what you could do. Now the needs of AAHOA are going to the next, that's already accomplished. So now the needs are to how do you help the community be more effective with operations and analysis of doing business.
Now, AAHOA is still working on it. The insurance issue has come back. All the insurance prices has gone up.
Yeah.
So AAHOA is working again on those insurance issues.
I mean, there's all kinds of things that depends upon the leadership, the lay leadership, and it depends upon the paid leadership that come up with ideas of how to use
Creative
as a
ideas.
business.
Creative ideas, what we were talking
Exactly,
about earlier,
exactly.
right? But AAHOA is doing a lot of these things right now. Right? They're trying to revamp the education program.
Yeah.
They are trying to revamp the networking with the industries. They are working on the co-op program, like an e-marketplace for AAHOA. They are working on the insurance issues, advocacy they are doing in a state level and the federal level. So AAHOA is doing a lot. The leadership is into it. Only thing, just like we talked earlier, membership has to support all this initiative to make it successful.
I think they would. I think, but you have to get it to the next level because the original level was already accomplished.
Right.
So now it's another level you have to accomplish.
You have to make sure it gets success.
Right.
What is the best legacy we can leave for the industry?
Well,
for you.
I think my legacy in the industry, I think really the number one legacy I left was AAHOA.
Yeah.
And I said that in the book of my autobiography that I wrote, that making money in business is not a legacy. Millions of people make money in business.
Giving back to the community is.
But doing something of this level, it's more than a philanthropic situation. Right. It's really I would say it's really using the value system that the people who founded the United States of America wanted to leave in their Declaration of Independence and other material that they wrote. And that everybody who's here in this country and is working here, living here, taking advantage of what the country has to offer, that for me, AAHOA was an example of, for one, it sounds trite, but it's the American dream.
Right.
What is the best legacy we can leave for our family? I'm going to let you answer that one. You have it. You answer that one.
What is the best legacy we can leave for our family? Then when you go to the community, people can look at you with respect, that this gentleman has done something to elevate the community's spirit, has done the right thing to support the community. And so I think that's my legacy. Do the right thing, be ethical, be honest, be trustworthy, right? So in the community where you live in, you get enough respect, and that's what makes your family feel good, that my parents or my brother or sister has done a great job leaving a good legacy for our family. I think that's what I can think of.
Well, I sort of agree. I think not everybody gets a chance to have a business legacy, but if you have a family, your progeny, you have sons or daughters or whatever, that when the time comes to leave this earth, that you taught them the values, the ethical values, and the manner in which you lived, lessons in how to live the right way. And I think sometimes people forget the impact they have on their children and their friends and relatives and whatever. So when you have a chance to do that, and it's not only about money, it's about how you represent an example of how to live your life.
Right. It's again, Mike, pleasure meeting you after so long and talking about all this back in the days, talks and everything, where the industry is going. I still believe that you need to come back in as a not the advisor, but as a mentor, and just educate all this franchising or franchisor CEOs that how to run the business. I think that will be very helpful.
There's a couple of CEOs still in the business that I know still, and but it's a different business now.
Yeah,
It's a different business.
It's very challenging. It's
Yeah,
very
to
challenging.
deal with
And I
the
think people who
problems.
believed in the same values what you have, they
Yeah.
respected you. The one who did not believe your values, they hated you. Right?
Well,
It's common in the
yeah,
human
I mean,
life, I guess. That's the way
The
it
last
is.
thing I'd say was when we started the board, people like yourself and the others, they gave their time, they gave their energy.
Yes.
They couldn't have done it without
Yep.
all the people who were helping.
Yep. Yep.
Can't do it alone.
It's a teamwork.
Absolutely.
Teamwork. Yeah.
That's the name of my
All
book.
right.
Can't do it yourself.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for
Thank you.
everything.
Thank you.